Welcome back, everybody. If anybody would like to win this brand new Stratic 2500 HG, stick around and I will tell you somewhere in the video. I'm not going to tell you where right now because I need you to watch. I'm going to tell you somewhere in the video what you got to do in order to apply to win this thing. Told you guys I was going to try to get another one. As the channel earns money, I'm just going to spend that money and put it right back into the community to thank you guys for trying to help us get somewhere in what we're doing with fisheries management in North Carolina. Talking about speckled trout, it's kind of culminating. We are at the crunch time now. The Marine Fisheries Commission meeting is 1 week from today. So on the 20th at 6 p.m., we have public comment, and on the 21st at 9 a.m., we have another opportunity for public comment, and that meeting is going to be in Emerald Isle, North Carolina, and the address 102 Islander Drive. That's Emerald Isle, North Carolina, 28594. Would really appreciate people coming out and speaking up. And of course, you know, in the previous videos, we had a great many discussions, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of information input. So if you watch, I'll put a little pin up here somewhere in one of these corners or something, so you can go and watch that video and you know what the conclusion we came to as a group with all the concerned anglers, all the anglers that wanted to give input, the conclusion we came to, so you know what is the best thing to say when you go in. Obviously, everybody's free to say whatever they would like, but it holds a lot more strength when we work together. The director of the Department of Marine Fisheries will constantly say, Kathy Rawls will constantly say, public input is vital. Many people don't believe her, so let's see what happens when we have a massive amount of public input that says the same thing and still makes biological sense, which I believe that both options, which we ended up coming out with kind of two options that were more or less the same, and we're going to talk about the specifics of those options right now, as well as what we think might appeal to individual commission members, sort of the way that these members think and sort of their voting habits in the past, what sort of argument might work for them, instead of just going in and complaining, knowing your target audience and knowing what is going to upset them and what might actually convince them to vote the way that we would like to see them vote. Let's get into it. If you want your votes to count, this is how you need to phrase it. So unfortunately for our first option, the recreational choice, we wound up with a perfect tie, 36% of the vote for option 5I and 36% of the vote for the original Spotted Sea Trout Advisory Committee recommendation. Again, you have to watch that previous video to know the pros and the cons of that. What I want to stress here is that when you sit down, when you address the commission, they're going to be there for a very long time. They would like to get out quickly. One of the best things you can do, sit down. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a recreational fisherman, or I'm a commercial fisherman. I would like to support option 5I, or I would like to support the original Spotted Sea Trout Advisory Committee recommendation. It's short, it's sweet, it's to the point, and it's very memorable. And if each person that gets up there says this same thing in the same way, it's really going to sink in. It's going to have a powerful impact. And if they ignore us, it's going to have an even more powerful impact when I take this to legislators later. Down to commercial, and we did have a standout here, and that is a 350,000 pound annual quota. Now, it's important we add this, and I did not put it in there, but with paybacks. So for the commercial fishery, I'd like to support a 350,000 pound quota with paybacks and a January and February closure. So on down to the last major point. This is adaptive management. What adaptive management is going to do is to allow them to bring this back up more quickly so that we can cut off a problem before it gets out 5, 6, 7 years down the road, like we did with flounder, and we end up with a season closure and everybody gets absolutely screwed. It's going to keep everybody honest. This is a good thing, and obviously we had 95% support for this. So going back, just to review and make sure you know if you're going to go in there and speak, make sure you know what you're going to say. You can literally show up for a very short period of time and just contribute. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm a recreational fisherman. I would like to support option 5I, or I would like to support the original Spotted Sea Trout Advisory Committee recommendation. For the commercial fishery, I would like to support a 350,000 pound annual quota with paybacks and a January-February closure. and I would also like to support adaptive management. All right, let's get to talking about some specific commissioners. So we're going to keep this short and sweet. We could talk about each of the commissioners, and I will mention Sammy Corbett really quickly. Sammy really likes things that are equal across both sectors. If one sector has a January, February closure, he wants to see the other sector also have a January, February closure. Unfortunately, with speckled trout, it just doesn't really work like that because the mesh can't catch a slot like it could with redfish. However, redfish is a great thing to bring up because redfish is probably the only single successful recovery we've had in an inshore species in North Carolina, and that was due to a commercial quota with paybacks and a recreational slot, as well as a reduction in bag limit. So it's really good to take it forward to him. Chairman Bethay. Chairman Bethay is a commercial seat, but he is an oyster farmer. And in the I believe it was the January meeting for the MFC of this year, he actually voted in favor of false albacore protections before the false albacore were in trouble. Now, for any of you that don't like regulation, don't get excited. The only thing it put in place was that we could not go beyond 200% of what we're currently taking. Its only purpose was to stop the really large-scale industrial harvest of these fish in order to just turn them into aquaculture feed for fish farms elsewhere in the world or elsewhere in the country. So it was a very good thing to protect both the small-time commercial fishermen of North Carolina and the recreational sector of North Carolina. So you have a good appeal going to Chairman Bethay. He is a super intelligent guy, super nice guy, but keep it short, keep it sweet. Sarah Gardner would be the other vote. So basically we already know in general how everybody is likely to vote. And Sarah Gardner and Ryan Bethay are the two most important votes here. So Sarah Gardner sits in an at-large seat. She is actually a charter captain, but she generally votes across the board with commercial. She voted against the false albacore protections because she felt that regulation that wasn't truly necessary should not be put in place. So she's big on feelings. In fact, when she makes decisions or she makes statements in the past, she almost always says, I feel, or this is how this makes me feel. So when it comes to appealing to Commissioner Gardner, we need to use feeling. In fact, we're talking about humans, and any argument needs to be emotionally bound in some way if you want it to be memorable and you want it to be effective. So the thing here, the 350,000 pound commercial quota protects the commercial industry. It guarantees the commercial fishermen going into the future this chunk. The commercial guys are very concerned about the incredible expansion of the recreational fishery. They often make statements as such that it's just going to eventually push them out. A quota is a good thing for them. It cuts out 350,000 pounds, and this belongs to the industry. And then the rec guys are responsible for what happens with the rest. Emotional argument, we are protecting commercial fishermen. And for the recreational fishermen, hey, if you want me to put this big fish back, I just need to know that they're not all going to swim into a net. And it would be, it'd be very good that we bring up an argument about the future of business, the future of commercial fishing in North Carolina is definitely in jeopardy. The future of recreational fishing in North Carolina is definitely in jeopardy. And we did very poorly with flounder. So when taking adaptive management argument to the table, it's really important that we base it in that. People have lost jobs. There are people who have lost enormous amounts of income, charter captains and commercial fishermen both. And this would be how we appeal to Commissioner Gardner. So I'm going to put together something really quickly about what I am going to say, basically what my argument is going to be for the commission. Please do not copy any of this stuff verbatim. The only things we want to be a copy are I support 5I or the SST recommendation, I support quota, I support adaptive management, etc. Anything personal, please don't. I'm just going to give an example of something that I think would be a good appeal. Right? So you do want to know exactly what you would like to say when you go in there, but I would strongly recommend not just reading off of a paper. It really makes it sort of mechanical, and it kind of takes away any emotional value that it has. So really speak from the heart, really say what you mean, but know what you're going to say and practice it a little. Have a good idea of what you're going to say in your mind when you get up there, because you can often kind of choke up. So here we go, right? Hi, my name's Steve Brewster. I'm from Richlands, North Carolina. I'm a recreational fisherman. I have fished at every available opportunity for about the past 20 years, 4 or 5 days a week, often more, certainly a lot more than my wife would like me. My wife would like me to fish. Don't rant like that. Don't rant. Don't go off on a rant. Anyways, thank you for allowing me to speak today. For the recreational fishery, I would like to support option 5I, or, in the case of many of you, I'd like to support the original speckled trout recommendation that came from the advisory committee. For the commercial fishery, I would like to support a 350,000 pound annual quota with paybacks and a January and February closure. Now, the reason that I would like to see that for the commercial fishery, so that 350,000 pound quota is actually going to protect the commercial fishery. It cuts out a good chunk of the fishery that's there for speckled trout, and it gives them this so they can have something that is regular, something that they can count on a certain amount of each year, and then they work that out among commercial, and within the recreational sector, we work it out separately. We would love for it to be like the Red Drum Plan, modeled as close to the Red Drum Plan as possible, because that is the only inshore success story we have. And looking at flounder, well, we just can't go that way. And I hope that each of you truly feel the weight of the decision that you're about to make today, because people sat in these same seats and they made decisions on flounder, and it has gone horribly for the state of North Carolina. I don't even know, looking at my son now, I don't know if my son is going to grow up ever being able to keep a flounder, if he's ever going to be able to do that. And it is absolutely wrong. It is unacceptable that we have taken this away from this child, from my child, and from all the other children that are out there. Whether they're rec or calm is completely irrelevant. I really hope you feel the weight of making this decision for the future. And in regard to that, I would really, really strongly request that you all support adaptive management so that we can speed up this management process, so that you do have a little more flexibility to maybe make a mistake. The guys who made that decision, that series of decisions for flounder, felt that they were making the right decision, and it didn't work out. So please, please support adaptive management so we can get on top of these problems a little bit faster and not just kick the can down the road and wind up in a terrible situation. Please, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to protect the commercial fishery, and it is going to also allow the recreational fishery to be okay with this restriction. This rift between calm and rec is just tearing us apart, and it is going to get worse if we do not put something in place on commercial that is going to make us feel okay about putting these larger fish back. And from all the recs I've talked to, the 350,000 pound quota is a very good deal. Some of them don't like it, but at least they know that the commercial fishery is not going to get bigger. And that's all they want to know. They want to know that putting that fish back in the water is going to be putting it back for future generations and not just for the fish house. Thank you all so much for letting me speak, and please, please make a good decision. All right, I'm wrapping it up there. And for those of you who have stuck around for this long, to win the Stratic, all I need you guys to do is to leave a comment on the YouTube video, to like it, and to share it. You can share it via any social media, and that will enter you for the Stratic giveaway. I am going to wait until after the meeting, but my next video will be doing the giveaway for that. Make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. Not because I actually want more subscribers. If you're not gonna watch the videos when I put them out, I actually kind of prefer you don't subscribe. But you subscribe so that you see the next video, because if I have a winner and then I message you back through one of the videos, or you missed the video and I'm trying to get with you and you don't respond to me, then I'm going to have to go back up and do another one. So make sure you're subscribed so that you see future videos. Make sure you comment, make sure you like it, make sure you share. Let's get this thing out there. Let's get a lot of people to show up, and let's do something good for North Carolina. Let's have a better fishery than what we have right now for once in the history of this state. Thank you all so much, and I will see you in the next one. If I don't see you at the Marine Fisheries Commission meeting, which I really hope I do.